Hey guys, it's Biggs. Today we're going to do something a little bit weird, a little bit different. I got my own little friend here. Nobody knows what this is. You might know it now. This is a cool little tiny plant. This is actually a sundew plant. And sundew plants are carnivorous plants. So if you have a massive pest problem in your house, maybe this could take care of it. It's like your own little shop of horrors in your basement. But fruit flies maybe, fish room, easy to grow. But this one's really cool. And the reason it's really cool is this week, by the time you see this video, I'll probably already either be there or be on my way back. But this little sundew comes from South Africa, and it's the Cape Sundew, Drosera capensis. Now that's really, really cool to me because maybe I can find this plant in the wild. I think that'd be really cool to come from my basement in Canada, to go all the way to South Africa and all of a sudden see sundews out in the wild, thriving and eating up monstrous flies and such. I think that'd be pretty cool. This one is actually obviously a cultivar. It's got the natural, it says it has purple flowers. And I don't know if purple flower is actually the natural color of the flowers in the wild. I don't really know. But I got this giant jar. We're going to pot this up in here, take all this other stuff. This other stuff's just kind of stuff that's just being staged, waiting for something to happen. We're going to pot that up for that little sundew there. I think that's pretty cool. Sundews are fascinating plants. They have these little tendrils that have all these little sticky little tendrils on them and stuff. And when something touches that, it stimulates the plant. And then they basically fold up all out. The whole leaf curls up. And then it releases stuff that breaks down a fly and everything like that. And I just think that's super, super cool. So let's talk more a little bit about the Cape Sundew. Now, because it's from South Africa and it's tropical, or I guess it's subtropical or temperate, I guess, this one probably doesn't need much of a rest. This one actually was grown at a nursery in Hawaii and stuff like that, and it grows year-round. So it's perfect for indoor little terrarium or vivarium culture. The only problem with sundews is, and a lot of plants that are true carnivorous plants, is they often inhabit almost marshy-like habitats that have extremely, extremely poor soil. So these plants have evolved to not take the nutrients from the soil. They often live in peat bogs or marshes and stuff like that where there's not a lot of nutrient to be uptaken by the roots. So that's how they've evolved to take them by like Venus flytraps or pitcher plants, or in the case with the sundew, these little sticky tendrils and stuff. And then they break down that animal protein and that becomes the food source. They break it down all to the different nutrients they need to be able to grow and thrive. Not like most plants that take it either from the leaves or the roots. This one's a little bit different, okay? Now, because it's an evergreen perennial, it doesn't get very, very big, but there, you saw the plant. That's pretty much a mature plant. It's only going to stand about this tall. The leaves will sometimes come up a little bit more erect above the pot. And when we go and pot it up in that little jar there and stuff like that, I think we're going to make a little mound and stuff, maybe put a rock in the background. I don't really know. I haven't been to South Africa yet to see what it looks like in the wild, so I don't really know what I'm doing. The thing I do know is that the soil substrate for these things is very, very different than what you'd normally put in a potted plant. This one here should be almost completely ground up peat moss, sphagnum peat moss preferably, and sand mixture, kind of half and half, so it's moisture retentive, but it's not soggy. And that way it's just a good media that holds moisture because this is a plant that does not like to dry out. Okay? It flowers regularly, commonly in captivity. It's flowering all the time. Now the cool thing about it is it's so readily flowered and it throws off so much seed. When I was at my good friend Rachel O'Leary's place, Biggs brought back some tropical Drosera, some other different in the same genera, but other tropical sundews. I got a whole bag full of seeds. So what we are going to do is we're going to plant them up in that thing there, and then we're going to broadcast the other seeds around. Maybe I'll see if I can find a little fern or something like that we can put in there as well, but something that's got to work with the type of soil that the sundew is going to have. And we'll see if we can get our own little garden of death happening here. Now to do up this little terrarium thing, what we're going to do is I've got this beautiful cobalt hand-blown glass bowl. It's very, very heavy. It's all nice round edges and stuff like that, but it's still open at the top. So we're going to be using the clay pellets. The big clay pellets are generally used for hydroponic use. I like using those because I can put them on a bottom layer and it'll actually let me see the water level. And because I travel a lot, it'll allow me to put a bit more water in the unit. They'll hold in place a little bit better. Then I have some peat moss, which is a sphagnum peat moss. And then I have some nice sand, inert sand, which is the critical thing, which was a bit of a challenge for me to find in my area, because in my area, all the sand and all the aggregates are all usually limestone based, and that's calciferous, and that's going to definitely alter the chemistry of the media. So a nice inert sand that I got from the garden center. I was very excited to finally find it. It took me a long time to find it. I've got this beautiful piece of spider wood that's already been seasoned. It's been in some tanks before. I'm looking at doing something along the lines of that. The sundew will go in place of it. And then I also have a bunch of different epiphytic meaning it lives on a tree. It doesn't take from a tree. It's not parasitic. But I have a lot of really, really unique air plants. You know, and I thought maybe some of these attached in and amongst the wood might be kind of cool. So I thought some of those I got glued on here, and to do that we're going to use crazy glue. And then the only other factor is water. Now when you're using water for any of these type of plants, because of where I live and I'm using well water, it's very, very hard water. So the water that I'm using is completely man-made. It's reverse osmosis water, so it's completely chemically inert. It's as pure as it can be, and it's a nice pH of 7. So it's ready to go. I've got a pitcher of water for the substrate, and then I've got my misting bottle if I should need it and stuff like that. Let's get started.